let's jump into the vampire here. We've got it set up, and let's see what we have. So we have 16 AC, 17 D8 hit dice, with 18 strength, dexterity, constitution, 17 intellect, 15 wisdom, and 18 charisma. The vampire should also be a CR 13. Now that we're done with the skills section, let's go into the basic area, the basic stats. Let's go into the skills section here. And we see that we have 3 saving throws for the vampire. And with that, we will get a +2 effective AC bonus here. And then after that, we have a couple skills, and we move down into damage resistances for necrotic, and then bludgeon piercing and slashing for non-magical attacks. So let's go ahead and throw the resistances in, and we get an extra 25% to the hit points, bumping our vampire up a little bit. And that's it for the skills area. And then we move down into the monster traits section, which there's plenty of them. So the first thing we have, which we can skip right past, is Shape Changer. Doesn't do anything, but is extremely thematic, which is helpful. After that, we have Legendary Resistances, and we know that will have an effect, so we'll go ahead and add in the 3 uses for that, and giving our vampire extra 90 hit points. After that, we also have Misty Escape, so we'll skip over that because Misty Escape has no effect as well, but we do have regeneration of 20 hit points at the start of its turn, so the vampire is going to gain an extra 60 hit points over those 3 rounds of combat. So we have our regeneration taken care of. We now move into Spider Climb. Spider Climb has no effect, so we'll skip by that. And then we also have Vampire Weakness, which is like Sunlight Sensitivity, and because it's very similar to Sunlight Sensitivity, we're just going to skip over this because there's going to be no real effect to it either as well. So we can move right into the action section now. And let's see here. What do we have for a plus to hit? We have +9s, and then we have a multi-attack in vampire form only, and then we have some bites, a charm, and Children of the Night. And let's get into this here. So we have Unarmed Strike, and we'll throw that into the first slot here in our monster attacks for a 1d8. So we got 1, we got a d8 here, and a +4 modifier coming from strength or dexterity. So we can either do 8.5 points of damage, or we can grapple. Next we have Bite. We'll take 7 piercing damage plus 10 necrotic damage there. So we have our 7.5 here, and the 10.5 for the bite damage. And then there's some extra stuff here. Let's see. The target's hit point maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the necrotic damage taken, and the vampire regains hit points equal to that number. After that, we have Charm. So for Charm, we could say 10 effective DPR there, and then it will get a whole bunch of extra stuff. And then we also have Children of the Night. So this is another deal where this is just going to increase the difficulty of the encounter. So Children of the Night doesn't help except for distractions and keeping the damage off of the vampire, especially if the vampire needs to escape. So let's go ahead and take a look at our damage here for attack number 1 being the Unarmed Strike, which can also be a grapple, more than likely would be the case. And then the Bite, which would be 18 points of damage there. Alright, before we do anything else, let me look at the legendary actions as well. And we've got Move. The vampire moves up to its speed without provoking attacks of opportunity. I'm gonna say on tops, this is only going to be maybe 10 DPR in total because aggressive gives the orcs +2. The second one would be Unarmed Strikes, and the vampire makes 1 armed strike, so that's pretty straightforward. We can just do 8.5 times 3. And then lastly, we have Bite, costs 2 actions. The vampire makes 1 bite. And then on top of that, because we have the Bite, if they're grappled something, we can also do another Unarmed Strike. Now it's just a matter of figuring out what happens on rounds 1, 2, and 3. First round would be a grapple, and then more than likely the grapple would hit because we're going to give the monster the benefit of the doubt here, and then we would go into a bite. So then we have another bite and another attack here, and then after that, the multi-attack would be the bite and an unarmed strike, and then doing another bite and unarmed strike during legendary actions to get the most damage anyways, and give it to round 3 as well. And sure enough, our vampire, just like Strahd, is underrated. I'm pulling up a CR 16 here, as we can see in the chart. It's very surprising. The vampire is more of a tank than anything. What happens, let's say we don't go in for the bites, and just for real quick. Let's say we just do a whole bunch of unarmed strikes instead of trying to bite. Now we have a CR13 vampire. I don't know why they've rated the vampire at its base. Like, this is the base that the vampire can do. If you just have the vampire running around and just punching the players all the time, then we have a CR13 vampire. But if the vampire goes for the grapple and starts draining and biting, that's when the vampire gets lethal. So if you want your vampire to be nice and basic, just have them run around and punch. Kinda boring.